Welcome. This is the Scarlet and Rage podcast. I am Michael, the voice of reason. This is my co-host Jay, the voice of rage. Awesome to be coming to you tonight, coming off of this big playoff weekend. A lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to look at. I'm sure a lot of thoughts and ideas from both myself, Rage, and all of you in the chat. And if you're in that chat, if you would please hit that like and subscribe. If you're watching this later and you have not liked or subscribed, please do that for us. Help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're getting so close. We're inching there. Just help us get there. Up on the board here, we have thescarletandrage.com message board. It is on fire. Charlie Kirk debates have, reignited on the board. Debates about the Ohio State defense. Debates about, all kinds of things from sports to politics to, you name it. It's on the board. Go there, join the conversation. All you got to do is, it'll make you a little username. You can use your Google account and it just signs you right in automatically. Super easy. And get on there. So we appreciate all of you that have. We've got dozens of conversations going on with, multiple different people all throughout the day. It's an awesome place. Free speech. Your ideas are not going to be censored. So come and join us. Jay, now they got all that out of the way. Big weekend. I imagine you had to have watched quite a bit of football this weekend if you're like myself.
I did, Michael. And I have, after yesterday, all day yesterday, I'm not even going to lie. I feel like I was on the verge of like an anxiety attack. And yeah, I know. That's what happens when you watch these games and you get all these negative thoughts in your head. And then you watch Ohio State basketball and what happened there. And, it's a lot of, it's not good, man. But I want to start off on a good note, Michael. Can we start off on a good note, a positive note, like for once?
Yeah.
Number one, happy shortest day of the year. The winter solstice was today. I had no idea, but I always know it falls around now. And I looked it up and it was today.
Okay, December 21. There we go. So every day gets a little brighter from here on out.
Yes, things are looking up. The positivity.
Can you feel it? The worst is behind. Winter is, kind of that direction. We're moving into spring.
All right, I know, good. Man. I always get like so hyped up like on December 21st and everyone thinks I'm crazy. But then I'm always so depressed on like June 21st, because it's only getting worse from there. So like, in the dead of winter, it's like you're hyper positive, but in the dead of summer, you're like ultra negative. They're like, it's hot outside. It's nice and bright. Why are you so upset? And I'm like, well, this is why I'm upset. So
because it's shorter every day,
man, bro. So and Merry Christmas to everybody. Obviously, it's the week of Christmas. I feel like it's like Christmas has been kind of taking a back seat in my mind. It shouldn't, but it has. It's amazing how time flies, though, bro. Like it's like, where is the time gone?
Yeah, it's here, and I am hosting the kids this year, and so I've got to have everything ready here in the next couple of days.
Wait, I thought you said you were traveling.
I am the day after Christmas.
I see. Yeah. Okay. That whole situation you have has got to be interesting.
Yeah. So I'll be definitely busy during the holidays, but I will probably be taking the early part of this week to try and frantically make sure that I have Christmas done for the kids. And this is the first year I've done all of that really by myself. So
I know, man. We're in like foreign territory for you, bro. Well, I know you'll get it done, man. You're the voice of reason, the voice of rage. I would completely fail. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
No, I think that Christmas Vacation is a classic. I don't even really think it's that funny when I watch it anymore.
You like that movie?
I thought I liked it as a kid. Like as an adult, like I think it's okay. Like it's kind of sentimental. I I don't know. There's nothing that like I just have to watch every holiday season. I mean, I
Yeah,
watch
I wouldn't say there's anything. Yeah, go ahead.
I watched the Christmas Story many times. You tell
Oh.
me what's your favorite?
Yeah, I would say I do. I don't like A Christmas Story either. As a kid, I did. But as an, but the problem with The Christmas Story, it's like, I don't know what channel it's on, but it's literally played all day, all the time from like December 23rd to like December 26th. And it's like overplayed, and it's not even good. I don't think Christmas Vacation is very good either. Like, there are a couple moments I kind of be like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. But it's like, it's not really fun. It's kind of more stupid, right? I don't know.
Yeah. It is.
Like, really stupid movie.
It is pretty stupid.
And Chevy Chase is not even at his best in that movie. I would say like the original Vacation, which I've seen like maybe like twice. I would say that was like the best vacation movie, but Christmas Vacation does not do it for me. There are people in my family that like their favorite movie, so more power to them. It's not mine. It's not for me. But if I were to choose like a top, I don't know that I can pick like a favorite Christmas movie, but I would probably say Gremlins.
Okay.
I
didn't know that was a Christmas movie.
Yeah, no, Gremlins is absolutely a Christmas movie. It's literally built all around Christmas and gift giving. You know how people say like Die Hard is a Christmas movie, or there's always an argument on that? Because
it's a Christmas party or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I just usually say Batman Returns is a Christmas movie, so I throw that in there. And then there's a movie I saw last year for like the first time ever, and I'm like, I think that actually might be my favorite Christmas movie, and it's called Krampus.
Yeah.
Do you even know what that is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Krampus is like essentially the opposite of Saint Nicholas, like Santa Claus. He is, I don't want to really spoil it for you, but he's more of a demon. Yeah, he's like more of a demon, and he basically takes people and like causes havoc versus like giving gifts. So it's actually really good. I was like watching it, and I didn't no idea what it was. I was like, this might be interesting to watch. And the funny thing is, I'm watching with my wife, and I continue to tell her, I'm like, I think that was like one of the funniest things that's ever happened between us. Like, the movie ends, and she literally says, like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And then I'm like, what the hell? I think that might be the best Christmas movie I've ever seen. So that's
well, Jay, you have some dark Christmas takes there with Krampus and
I know. I'm like, I will say this: I did watch the original Grinch today with my son, and I did like it.
You liked it, like the little cartoon one?
Yeah, the little cartoon one, because the Jim Carrey one sucks.
His little Grinch heart grows.
Yes. It was actually really good. So yeah, dark Christmas movies, but again, I'm not really for that whole bright, colorful type stuff, mellow, whatever. That's just not my thing. I'm the voice of rage, Michael. Can't you tell?
That's right. Yep.
And speaking of the voice of rage, Michael, I do need to talk about something. Something that brings me great agony, and that's Ohio State basketball. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this subject. I know some people were kind of asking about it. So Ohio State yesterday, Michael, they played the North Carolina Tar Heels. They were down by 11, came all the way back, hit a 3+1 to take a 3-point lead with about 48 seconds to go. And North Carolina scores the next 4 points. Ohio State turns it over once on an inbound play. North Carolina eventually ends up winning by 1. Ohio State actually had a chance to win the game at the end, and they don't even get it to their best player. They settle for like a 35-foot 3-point shot when they should have been going to the basket. That's not here or there. But again, I just continue to say to fire Diebler. He has completely ruined our basketball program. And it's not just him. It was Chris Holtman and Michael. Honestly, it's kind of Ross Bjork at this point. Now, I will say, I continue to say that there is some mixed feelings there, because Gene Smith was the acting athletic director when Jake Diebler was hired. Like, Ross Bjork wasn't the full-time AD yet. I know Ross Bjork made the announcement, but, Gene Smith had a relationship there with Jake Diebler and everything. basically hiring Jake Diebler from a failed coach. You know, just a little bit of information here. Like, you know, recently the basketball team, the only 2 games I really cared about winning this year, they finished 1-1. And now, Michael, I just hope they lose every fucking game. They beat West Virginia, lost to North Carolina. North Carolina and Duke are my 2 most hated teams. Fuck Diebler. Ross Bjork needs to make a good hire here. You know, the roster construction is actually a little better this year. I know a lot of people are like complaining about the bench. The bench isn't nearly as bad as people make it seem. There was a moment yesterday that we actually brought in North Carolina, Michael, just for instance, is considered like one of the tallest, if not the tallest team in the country. And Ohio State actually has legit size on this team. They actually put a 7-1 guy at center, and then they moved their 5 to the 4. So then they went 7-1 and 6-11 in the same lineup. And it was giving North Carolina some real problems inside. And they didn't stick with it because Diebler is too much of a dumb fuck. He doesn't know how to use his roster. North Carolina eventually won. Gabe Cupps and Brandon Knoll are completely worthless, unathletic white guys, though. I agree. Tayson Chapman should be playing more. I do like the insertion of Mari Bynum into the starting lineup. And I'm just going to end with this. Michael, the scariest part about all of this, of what I just said, is this Ohio State team just might be good enough to win some games and keep Jake Diebler here for next season. They actually need to lose as many games as possible to secure firing him because I cannot mentally take another season of this because there is just nothing to look forward to with the basketball team. Nothing. There is nothing. You know, it's amazing how the standards have fallen so low and they're like, oh, well, I hope we make the tournament and salvage the season. I'm like, the tournament is not the fucking goal. This is not fucking like Northwestern basketball. This is Ohio State basketball, which is actually a proud program with a lot of history. And a lot of people just don't know that because our football program is arguably the best program of all time. But don't get me wrong, our basketball program has got a lot of history there and is treated like a women's soccer team. So I don't know what else to say there. I'm just really upset.
Well, if you're going to keep your job as Jake Diebler, these are the kind of games that could go a long way in doing that. And he didn't win it. So we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. But I'm with you. I think it's time for him to go. I can't believe that Ohio State ever hired the assistant of a failed head coach to be the head coach. But, you know, be that as it may, Gene Smith, I think, got really lazy in some areas. And that's what we got. So I'm with you. I hope that they don't have just good enough season because that's not really going to move the needle at all. Yeah, I think it's time to get rid of Diebler.
And people say I'm a bad fan for cheering against them. No, I would make the argument you're a bad fan for continuing to put up with this just malaise and just bad basketball. Again, if real change is going to happen, things need to get really bad. And things have been already really bad. He should have been fired after last season, Michael, and he wasn't. So I will continue to cheer against them until not only is he fired, I want to make it clear, firing him is not good enough. They then have to make a hire that I can get behind. I have to get behind it. I do. If I cannot get behind it, I'll continue cheering against them. If they hire some shit coach from some mid-major, it has to be an established guy that's had success and somebody that can, you know, bring enthusiasm back. Because, again, this team, Michael, as bad as they are, they actually have some real talent on it. They have 6 composite top 100 players on their roster. Crazy, I know, but they actually do. They were not outmatched yesterday by the fucking inbreds from North Carolina. They weren't. They were not outmatched. They were just as athletic, basically just as big. And North Carolina, they were even with them on the boards, and North Carolina was fully healthy. Their best player had came back yesterday, and we were right there with them. So that's where I kind of get scared. I'm like, I wanted to win this game, but I get kind of scared. It's like, oh, shit, are we going to win some games now that, you know, puts us on the precipice of making the tournament and then keep Jake Diebler's job? Like, I don't want that either. So it's a real gray area, you know, and it's really scary.
Yeah, I mean, my only caveat would be like if Jake Diebler got things together and made a run to the Sweet 16, I might say, oh, okay, well, I don't know, maybe he's got something. But, you know, outside of really, you know, if he just ekes into the tournament, loses in the first round, then no, that was not worth
Yeah.
having to deal with him for another year.
The problem is if they make the tournament, he's keeping his job, even if they lose in the first round.
Yeah.
But anywho, we'll do a full breakdown of Ohio State basketball sometime soon. I just needed to at least address the elephant in the room because I know some people have been asking about it. Michael, Alabama versus Oklahoma. I guess let's just go down the line of like the CFP recap here. So, before I guess we talk about this game in depth, Michael, I thought Kalen DeBoer, I got to be honest, I was pretty sold. And I was under the impression that Kalen DeBoer was going to go to Michigan if Alabama lost this game.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama then won the game after being down 17 points. Kenny Dillingham signs an extension with Arizona State. And now I don't know what Michigan's going to do, man. Like they are really, it is looking rough for them over there.
You know,
you have any thoughts?
Well, I mean, on that, I thought that Kalen DeBoer was going to win because, Alabama had the turnovers that caused them to lose the first game. And, just thrown into the mix, I don't know how valuable this stuff really is, but Kalen DeBoer was 10-1 going into this game on games where he had more than 10 days to prepare. And so a really good record when he has time to prepare. Offense is his thing. And those offensive guys, oftentimes, when they have the extra hours to tinker and the extra hours to plan and the extra hours to dissect a defense, they can come up with some new stuff. And so we're obviously hoping that Ryan Day and company are able to do that themselves. But it seems that Kalen DeBoer was able to do it, and he moves to 11-1 when having that time to prepare and goes on to face Indiana. And there's some consternation in the chat about Indiana, having their work cut out for them against Alabama. Well, yeah, I mean, Indiana is they beat Ohio State. They beat Penn State. They beat Oregon. They've already beat 2 teams in this playoffs. They're supposed to be big boys. So yes, they have to go play Alabama. But here's the thing that I would look at it as. This Alabama team has had flaws all year. They had a clunker at the beginning of the year. They had a clunker in the middle of the year, and they had a clunker just at the end of the year. So the point is they've never been free from, laying an egg and not playing well. And Indiana is going to have to be coached because Alabama has athletes. It is going to challenge Indiana athletically. But they have a chance to go out and think about this. As a Indiana Hoosier football team, they have the opportunity to go out and at the end of the Rose Bowl to, in one season, have beat Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, and Alabama. That is absolutely incredible. And I, as a Big Ten guy, I know they got their work cut out for them. I know Alabama's a formidable opponent, but Indiana has played some big boy football this year, so it's not going to be something that surprises them. Oregon's a very talented roster. Ohio State's a very talented roster. Even that Penn State roster is a talented roster. So that this isn't going to surprise them, but it is going to test them and push them. That's for sure.
It absolutely is. Regarding this game, though, I thought it was probably the game of the weekend, Oklahoma and Alabama. I really wanted Oklahoma to win because, Michael, some people are trying to say that they were rooting for Alabama so that Michigan would not get DeBoer, especially after Dillingham signed that extension. Well, obviously, Michael, I'm the opposite, and I think you were too. I dislike the SEC so much, more so than Michigan. And taking Alabama's coach and, taking the SEC's coach from Alabama, the top program in the SEC, would have kind of crippled Alabama and further elevated the Big Ten, but that did not happen. With all of that being said, again, I just want to rewind one last time. Do I think it was like week 2 when we did the Michigan-Oklahoma preview? And I was very critical of Oklahoma's offense. And, ever since then, I was like, John Mateer, is not very good. And I will elevate it and say he is really fucking bad, Michael. He cannot throw the football for shit. He is awful. He is a solid runner, but that's really all he's got. He airmails more passes than I've seen from a QB in a while. Hell, the sidearm throw he made from like the goal line was some of the worst mechanics I've ever seen. Michigan, speaking of them, should be kicking themselves, getting worked by that clown offense in week 2. And as good as Oklahoma's defense is, Michael, they have a hard time stopping the forward pass against athletes. They probably should have been blitzing more. I don't know why Venables wasn't, to get the ball out of Ty Simpson's hands faster and give their secondary more of a chance. Remember, the first game around, they gave up over 400 yards to Alabama, so it's not like they really stopped them in either game. Oklahoma would be a title contender, Michael, if they had a decent quarterback. Their defense is good, but they are not elite to carry such a poor offensive pass game. And you are absolutely right. And I've said this too, a healthy Alabama is a scary team. They went into, let's not forget, they went into Georgia, who a lot of people are picking to win this entire thing, and they won. And again, they had like 8 or 9 guys out a few weeks ago in the SEC championship game. So a lot to take there, but Alabama was the better team. I wanted Oklahoma to win, but I don't know what else to say. Alabama was absolutely the better team. They were the better team the first game too. The stats say it. The stats showed it. Alabama can throw the forward pass, and Oklahoma just can't. And that was the difference.
Yeah, and I mean, as I'm looking at the stats here, Mateer actually threw for 307 yards, but he wasn't overly efficient. He threw the ball 41 times, only completing 26.
How many interceptions did he have?
1 interception.
Okay.
But
I swear that's the most deceptive 300 yards I've ever seen.
Yeah. But Oklahoma also could not really run the ball, 33 carries for 55 yards. But again, Alabama is a team that does have glaring flaws. And one of those is, I think it's been pointed out in the chat, is their inability to run the ball. This happened again, 25 carries by Alabama for 28 yards, 1.1 yard per carry. Ty Simpson can throw it a little bit, but he is not extremely lethal because he doesn't really have lethal weapons. It's not, his weapons aren't bad, and you've got the one kid with the fingernail polish. What's his name?
Ryan Williams.
Yeah, Ryan Williams. I mean, he's pretty good.
I don't know that he did anything in this game. Did he? I don't know.
No, I don't think he's done a whole lot as of late.
No, he hasn't. He's been kind of checked out.
Yeah. And so, Alabama's challenged. And so Indiana absolutely can win this game. Jay, I want you to remember how bad you thought of this Oklahoma team back after they beat Michigan. If you go back and look at that podcast, you said this Oklahoma team was shit.
I don't know if I said they were shit. I said their offense was shit.
Okay. Well, you said they're not a good team. They said, you said you don't really think they're a top 10 team. And
no, I think I agreed. Yeah. I think
for the most part, you were right. I don't think they're a very good team. And I don't think that win 34-24 was that impressive. I saw their offense struggle a lot, and I know Oklahoma has a good defense, but Indiana also has a very good defense. And Indiana, think of him what you may, but Indiana has a whole lot better leader under center in Mendoza than Oklahoma does in, John Mateer. And so I know a couple of Bama fans down in the Deep South, and believe it or not, they are scared. The sentiment down there is they are absolutely concerned and not overly confident that they're going to beat this Big Ten team that, still has a whole lot of brand bias. Both of the guys I know that are big Bama fans, they are not confident. They do not like the way their team has played all year. They do not like that they can't run the ball. They don't recognize that as an Alabama football team. And yeah, they're concerned that this Indiana team is going to take it to them. I can't wait to see it.
No, I can't wait either. And I'll be wearing, if I could like get an Indiana hat or a Kirk Cignetti mask or something and wear both during the game, I will.
Oh boy,
you know,
Michael,
this
this would make my day if this happened. If that happened right there,
I will say that's not so much of a hot take because I think it could absolutely happen. I'll tell you why. Number one, it's hard to beat a good team twice, and then number two, this will be kind of a pseudo home game for Ole Miss, Michael. I mean, they are a lot closer to New Orleans than Georgia is. You know, New Orleans to Athens, Atlanta area is a very, very long haul. Not so much from Oxford, Mississippi. Or is it Starkville? Is Oxford? Yeah, Oxford, yeah.
And you know what? They could go one of two ways with this. They could have come out and they could have showed a lot of vulnerabilities against Tulane, and you would have said, yeah, that's what I thought. Their coach abandoned them. Their coach left them. It's going to be really hard for them to get this train going again. Or it could have galvanized them, rallied them. They could have reached in, come together, got something a little bit deeper, and maybe play as well or better than they did. And basing what they did against Tulane, they haven't skipped a beat, with Lane Kiffin gone. And so there's no reason to think that they're not going to give Georgia a really good game. And man, would I love to see them come out victorious over Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs.
No, absolutely. Speaking of the Tulane game, that played out like everyone thought, absolute snoozer. And to be honest, Michael, I really didn't watch much of it. And I subjected myself to the monstrosity that is Ohio State basketball. Oregon, and I guess we'll lump these games together. Oregon and James Madison. Michael, Oregon offensively may be the best team in these playoffs, but Michael, their defense, yeesh, they got carved up yesterday, sir. I do wonder if their defensive coordinator leaving has something to do with this. I hope this is not a bad omen for the Big Ten. I really hope it's not. Be that as it may, Oregon did have some substitutes going into the game. I did notice that. And Oregon can be disinterested and play a bunch of backups. But, Michael, by no means should they ever give up over 500 yards and 34 points to James fucking Madison. Ever. I really do worry about them now in their next game against Texas Tech. I mean, I'm a little worried about the Ducks now.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I turned the game off. I felt like I had seen what I needed to see, and I think it was 27-7. I was really impressed with Oregon. I was expecting probably a 52-14 or 17 type of performance. When I woke up this morning and I checked, I couldn't believe 51-34. So I'll have to go back and see what happened. But
man, they were just getting lit up bad, really bad.
So, I mean, I see that they threw the ball 48 times. So clearly, they were passing it once they got things going. Once they got behind, they had to start passing it. And then did they do some type of trick play? Because I'm seeing a 1-for-1 for 50 yards.
They did. Again, trick play or not, they still gave them 500 yards. They're not all trick plays. It's concerning because I'm just
saying the trick play contributed, and then 186 yards rushing. That's not good either.
No, I was pretty sold, before this game about Oregon advancing to the semifinals. I'm not so sure anymore. I don't know what else there is to say about that game.
Carry.
Yeah, they got lit up.
5.3 yards.
They were substituting, though. I want to make that clear. But again, substitute or not, you don't give up that many points and yards to James Madison with your backups. It's just that cannot happen. Obviously the last game is of the weekend was and that was really the first game on Saturday and really the only game of any, I wouldn't say not consequence, but the only game of interest. And I wish it would have been played at night. Was Miami and Texas A&M. And Michael, I have a really, really hot take, and I think I'm like one of like I'm a one of one when it comes to this. And you know what my opinion is?
What?
I think the entire college football playoff should be played in domes and on neutral fields. Get rid of the traditional bowl setups because they are essentially gone anyway. Just call it the college football playoff at whatever city the game is played in. And the reason I say this is, you know, the wind yesterday in College Station was definitely a factor. I hate big games like this being affected by the weather. And I'm all for the college football playoff moving to indoor stadiums. And I understand playing in the elements, Michael, is essential in football, but it takes away from the quality on the field. And everyone is like complaining about these like low mid-major teams in the playoffs. Don't we want the best teams in each round? You know, playing in the elements kind of jeopardizes that. And I say this all because, you know, I feel like the quality of play was diminished between Miami and Texas A&M.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, I mean, I could see an argument for that. I
have another thought too, but go on with that. I mean, I feel like I'm like one of one when it comes to this, but again, you have a Midwest presence with domes. You have Indianapolis, you have Detroit, you have Minneapolis. Like the Big Ten has got indoor stadiums. You have Atlanta for the SEC. You have New Orleans for the SEC. I guess, you know, maybe you include Miami, but you're still taking a risk there for some kind of weird weather element thing going on. You know, you have that West Coast with Arizona, and I guess you don't have anything in the Pacific Northwest, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I think like if you really want the best teams and the quality of play to not be affected and really get a better look at who the best team really is, that's what you do. I mean, like, heck, when you played the video game in NCAA back in the day, you didn't play on, you wanted to make sure you decided who the better player was. And you would play in a neutral field with no weather and settle it. And that's what we always did, man. And that's kind of what I'm proposing here. Like, just get rid of the home atmospheres. I know a lot of people love them, but you know what? People are going to travel to the games anyway, especially if they're closer to, you know, the higher seeds or the lower seeds region. So that's what I suggest, man, because Texas A&M and Miami, I understand they were both Texas A&M's defense is not very good. And to hold Miami to 10 points like that, obviously Miami is affected by the wind a lot. So that's what I suggest there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think I'm a one-on-one here, but that's my opinion.
Well, if that's the problem you're looking to solve, it could be solved. So yeah, I agree with you on that. You know, is it it's probably one of those things that a lot of Buckeye fans would want to keep it the way it is, unless we had to play in a home field environment that was non-advantageous to us and the weather really impacted the way that we were able to execute that game. And then they might all change their mind and decide that they, do like the idea of always playing when the weather and the conditions are going to be stable. I think right now, everybody just thinks of it in terms of how awesome it is for the SEC to potentially come up and play in very, very cold temperatures like the University of Tennessee did. And that is cool. I mean, I like that. I was at that game. I enjoyed it. But
I don't know that the weather played any factor in that, though. I just think Ohio State was just miles better than them. I don't think the weather had anything to do with it.
Oh, I don't necessarily either, at least not, as far as like determining the outcome of the game. But, it's an interesting storyline. Oh, the Southern boys have to come up and play in the really, really cold weather.
Yeah.
And so, but it could impact us in another way that we don't like it. And so that is always true as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like up in arms if they decided they were going to do all neutral site locations and do away with the bowls. I certainly wouldn't be really upset about doing away with the bowls at this point.
Well, what do we, another question I have is, what do we do about like these mid-major teams? Like Tulane and James Madison. Now, I understand James Madison really scored a lot on Oregon, but Tulane got, whipped belt to ass. And it's like, and the thing is, Michael, like you said, you watch a little bit of Oregon and James Madison turned it off. I didn't really watch any of Ole Miss and Tulane. None. I just didn't care to see it. Number one, it was a rematch. I didn't care to see a rematch. And number two, I knew that Ole Miss was going to blow them out. So it's like they are really costing themselves ratings here. I don't know what the solution is here. I think, a lot of people are trying to say, like, I think it's the group of five or is like Ohio State and the Big Ten and SEC called the group of five. I don't know. I just still call them.
It's now the Power Four, and then the group of five is the five.
Okay.
Yeah, the other conferences that are not in the Power Four, and so the highest ranked of those, the highest ranked conference champion, or the two highest ranked conference champions, are still getting spots. Hence, you've got James Madison and Tulane. I think that needs to be completely done away with. I just, but I don't think they're going to. If there is a mid-major team admitted into the playoffs, I think it should be one, and I think they should have to play their way in. Like there should be like a play-in game, so
I think they need to be, okay. Like who would they play though? If they have a conference championship game, and then it's like you don't really have enough time for a play-in game before the playoff. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Who would they play? Where would they get the time? Then you would need to get rid of the conference championship games at that point, which at this point, Michael, I think I'm in favor of. I don't know, man. There's still a lot of questions on how to handle this.
I don't really see a path for these teams with the way things are set up. I don't see a path for these teams.
When is the last time like one of these teams was actually legitimately good enough to win it all? I'm thinking of, was it Scott Frost's UCF in like 2017? They went undefeated and then beat Auburn in the bowl game. Like, yeah, that team could have competed, but that's like one team in like the last 10 years. Before that, it was Boise State. It was Boise State under, I forget the coach's name. He was at Washington.
And here's the thing, Jay. Even that UCF team, I remember watching that Auburn game. They played a great game. They played a great game, but what are the odds of that team doing that 3 or 4 times? Actually, you coming from the group of five, they would have to do that 4 times against teams as talented or more talented than that Auburn team that they were able to get up for and beat that one day. And the odds are almost, it's not totally impossible, but the fact that and I am no Notre Dame apologist, but obviously if you put Notre Dame on a neutral field or a non-neutral field against James Madison or Tulane, and they're going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would have been interesting to see Notre Dame go to Oregon and play. And then, I know a lot of people are saying Vanderbilt should have been in. Well, Texas beat Vanderbilt. So I think Texas should have been in over them. But you have Texas playing, I guess, Oregon, and then Notre Dame playing Ole Miss instead. You're going to get big viewership in those games then, Michael. People like completely checked out.
Yeah, it's a much better matchup. I mean, those are much better matchups. And you get to really see what do these teams have. We're not looking at Oregon and going, well, I'm not exactly sure what they have. If they beat Notre Dame or if they beat Texas, we're letting them go, okay, well, yeah, they're a pretty darn good team.
Yeah, so I don't really have much else to say about that subject, but I do have a lot to say about the next game, Michael. So obviously we led in speaking about the weather and thoughts about that. With Miami and Texas A&M, Michael, I went into this game. I was very mixed going in. I thought there were problems, for Ohio State with both teams. So I was just hoping they would just kill each other, right? Just kill each other, wear one another out. That did not really happen, though. Texas A&M got some players hurt. Miami really did not. Then my mind started to shift. And I was all in, Michael, and I believe I was texting you about this. I was all in on A&M winning this game because I knew Miami was better watching the game. I didn't care if A&M would have had a home game in Dallas next week either. Miami's length and explosiveness on defense would make New Year's Eve a carbon copy of the Indiana game for Ohio State. And, Miami's defense, man, they look like the best unit in the nation to me. Like, they harassed Marcel Reed all day long with their front four, blitzed in spots. They picked and choose. It was amazing how fast they were on defense. Mark Fletcher is the best running back in the college football playoff. Yes, I said it. He is the best back in the CFP. They are an absolute juggernaut, man. And, that Texas, I know people are trying to say Texas A&M's offense sucked. No, it didn't. They're a very, very good offense. They scored a lot of points this year, and Miami shut them down on their home field. That is extremely impressive. Ohio State, I don't believe, is holding Texas A&M how many points do they have? 3 points on their home field. I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't. So very, very, very impressive by Miami.
Well, it's hard to say what the Buckeyes would do in those same conditions. I mean, because that certainly favored the defense. Carson Beck throwing in that win threw for 103 yards, and A&M threw for 237. So they actually moved it a little bit through the air. But they did. Yeah. A&M, I don't think is a great team. I really don't. If you look at their schedule, it was an extremely soft schedule. They played 2 teams. Yes, they went through the SEC gauntlet and played 2 teams. One of them was not in the SEC, Notre Dame, and they went 1-1 against those 2 teams. One of those wins was very early on. The time they got thumped was late, right before this. They go up against.
They lost their last 2 games. They ended their season losing to Texas and then to Miami.
Yep. They go up against another legitimate, good top 10 type team, and they lose again. So I don't think that Texas A&M is a very good team. And I felt extremely confident that if they could somehow pull out a win in that wacky game, that the Buckeyes matched up with them very favorably. I don't think the Buckeyes match up as well with Miami, but I'm not as down on it as you are, Jay. I do see a lot of areas of hope and attack.
What did you think of my texting of you yesterday? Don't spoil the audience, but just what were your thoughts? I know you see them when I text you these things.
Well, I just think that, there's always a glass half empty and a glass half full. And they're really the same spot. It's just kind of how you look at it. And so I do think that you make some good points with some of that. I think that those are concerns. I just also think that there's a lot of upside and there's a lot of things that I see in this Miami team that we can attack. They're putting it in the chat, the 2024 Michigan game last year. This is like the 2024 Michigan team having a quarterback who's capable of completing a forward pass. It's very similar to that. They're strong on the defensive line. They have a strong running game. They do have a capable quarterback. Carson Beck is not a dangerous or an amazing quarterback, but he is a capable quarterback. He's also very capable of doing you some big favors if you're on the other side of the ball as well. But we cannot run into the teeth and strength of this defense and think that we're going to win this game. We have to attack them where they have shown some vulnerability, and that's in their secondary.
You know how I said at the beginning of the show I had major anxiety?
Yeah.
This is why. And Ohio State losing to North Carolina. Michael, this is not a Miami preview. I just want to point out a couple things. I don't know when we're going to film our Miami preview. We got to figure that out. But Michael, Miami is the type of team that is, I used to always say Michigan was the ultimate kryptonite to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. But I think I was wrong. I think this Miami team is the ultimate kryptonite for us. They are massive on the offensive line. And when I say massive, Michael, I think they have the biggest offensive line in the country. And they have a bulldozer running back that they can lean on against our shaky run defense. And on our message board right there, I pointed it out about all of the backs that played on decent offenses we played this year, and Ohio State's giving up 4.9 yards a carry. to all of those backs. And that is a really bad stat, Michael. Their pass rush, Miami's pass rush may be better than Indiana's. And Indiana, we gave up 5 sacks against. Miami is making a point. Like, they think that Texas A&M's offensive line is better than Ohio State's. I'm not going to disagree there. Texas A&M has got a really big athletic offensive line, in Miami, they work them. It's a terrible matchup, Michael. Ohio State will have 80% of the fans inside Dallas. I have no doubt about that. But it's not going to matter, considering it didn't really affect Miami yesterday. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know how the Ohio State line is going to block the thoroughbreds that Miami's going to throw at us. They have possibly the best defensive line in the country. Matt Patricia is going to have to be aggressive, Michael, and try and force some turnovers. You can't play so soft and safe with a struggling offense. We need to force turnovers and set your offense up with good field position. And Michael, I really do worry about the Miami rush offense versus our run defense. Ohio State's run defense has not been great this season. It's been very shaky. And Miami, like I said earlier, they have the best running back in these playoffs. Mark Fletcher, former 2023 recruit, was committed to Ohio State all the way up and then flipped to Miami in the last hour, man. Do you think we could use him right now? You think we could use him? And, biggest offensive line in the country as well, man. They are the ultimate matchup problem. They are better than us on the lines, man. And I was telling you this earlier. Ryan Day has not put an emphasis. They are doing better on the defensive line now, but the offensive line recruiting is still a fucking late-term abortion. Tyler Bowen was a terrible hire. Where the blocking hasn't been great. Chip Kelly's not here to save us. You expect a team that couldn't run the ball on Indiana and pass protect Indiana to just be able to turn around, play a more talented team and be like, okay, you're fine. More power to you if you believe that.
I mean, I do think that this game comes to the Ryan Day has to carve out a way to play to Ohio State's strengths. I mean, this is a talented Miami team. They have some things to be concerned about. But this is a Miami team that struggled to beat Florida State. It is a Miami team that lost to Louisville, lost to SMU, went to the wire with Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a good team, though. Notre Dame's a good team, though, like you said.
They are, but Notre Dame has clearly played its best football, after, it really kind of caught fire. But it didn't win 2 of its big games. And so that's why they're not in the playoffs. So, this Miami team did not play a tough schedule. Of course, the Buckeyes did not play a tough schedule, but the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I was going to say our schedules are pretty even, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, the Buckeyes, do have Indiana. They do have Michigan. They do have Texas on the schedule. And so I would give Ohio State the edge as far as certainly upper end talent that we have played. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in the preview, Jay, but I think there's a lot of opportunities to attack this Miami team. I just think that there are some ways that we definitely could get in trouble if Ryan Day, kind of goes to some of his old stubborn
Michael,
ways.
The way you were talking a week ago, you don't really have any faith in Ryan Day in changing anything.
You know what? I have some level of faith for this game, and this is why. Some people don't like it. They don't think it means anything. For me, it's actually a statistic that I kind of like. And it's one of those things that it's right until it's not, because it was said about Jim Tressel and then Florida happened. It was said about Urban Meyer and then Clemson happened. But Ryan Day has a pretty good track record of when he has time to prepare. And so, this is a team that is not more talented than his team. This is a team that has some strengths that are, their strengths are stronger than a couple of units for Ohio State, being probably offense and defensive line. However, we do have an advantage at most other places on the field. And so we have to take advantage of those advantages. I will take our secondary and linebackers over theirs, although their secondary is not terrible, but it's got some good length, but they have shown vulnerability this year. And so I will take our receivers over theirs big time. Texas A&M, gave them some trouble with a guy who was 5'11", had 7 catches for 90-something yards. Another guy at 5'9", put roughly 40 yards on him, 44 yards by another receiver. Small guys, not a big receiving core from Texas A&M, and did a little damage to that Miami secondary. So in the wind. So that's where I'm looking, if I'm Ryan Day, and this isn't hard. And this is why Ryan Day gets paid the big bucks for. You cannot lose this game playing into Miami's strengths.
Well, you said that, people said that about Michigan last year, and we did it. We said that about Indiana this year, and we did it. So I will say 2 things. Number one, Miami most reminds me of Texas. They're like carbon copies of each other with the size and everything. Miami might be a little bit more disruptive with their defensive line. I mean, Texas, I always said, was like the most physically gifted looking team that I've seen all season. Miami's right there with them, man. I mean, this was back when I wasn't studying every team in college football. And the more you look at Miami, I'm like, man, they are a very, very, very physically impressive bunch, man. They are a bigger team than Ohio State. They are bigger than us. And it's weird to say, but they are. I feel like I lost what I was going to say next. Some more bad news, Michael. And again, this is my anxiety kicking in again. And I know a lot of people were, talking about like Indiana and Alabama and our game. And, we saw what Oregon did last night. And Michael, we are living in a real possibility that the Big Ten is completely eliminated after the quarterfinal.
Well, yes. And there's also a possibility that the SEC will be primarily eliminated, after the quarterfinal. Or at least
not completely,
because Georgia or Ole Miss, one of them have to move on.
Right.
Yes. But I mean, sure. Yeah. I mean, it could definitely happen. If things really went wrong, when you compare Miami to Texas, I really do find that a positive though, because I mean, we have a pretty, Texas just played this Texas A&M team. And if Texas would have played this A&M team in that win the other day, Texas probably would have beat them 21-0 or something, because Texas ran the ball against this A&M team for 218 yards on 35 carries, 6.2 yards a carry. So they steamrolled them, a lot more than the Miami squad did.
Texas steamrolled us too, by the way, on the ground.
They did. They gave us some trouble on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Texas has, I feel like against like bigger defensive lines like Florida, really, Texas really struggled against. They struggled against Georgia too. So
Georgia probably has the best running game in the best running defense in the country. So that's another team that Ryan Day cannot just, think that he's going to run the ball to open up the pass on. They probably have the best running defense in the country. And I'm not extremely bullish that Georgia is this amazing team that can't be beat. I think they're very beatable, but I also think they probably have the best run defense in the country.
I don't know. I know Georgia is physically impressive. I tell you what, man, I know you say they have the best run defense. I'm looking at Miami yesterday and I'm like, man, if there's a better run defense in the country, I want to see it, because they completely shut down Texas A&M's run game. Like Texas A&M, I don't remember them ever having to carry over 5 yards. So it was extremely impressive on all fronts by Miami's defense, because Ohio State can't stop the run like that. That is for damn sure. That is for damn fucking sure. Ohio State cannot stop the run like the way they did. Even with RL and Alex Styles. But again, Ryan Day, has not really valued the lines like that. I've said for a long time, you can't have only one guy that's 330 pounds. You need like 2 or 3. Last season, we had Tyreek and Caden McDonald. This year, we only have Caden McDonald. Our offensive line recruiting has been god fucking awful. And when you have like 3 stars that you're expecting to block, Miami's front, like, again, Ryan Day made this bed. And it's time for him to lay in it, Michael. Like, again, he has not valued the lines like that. It's the lines, the lines, the lines, the lines. You get the lines right, and then you build out. The title last year was won on the backs of that 2021 recruiting class, which was really our last really great recruiting class. We lost Donovan Jackson, who was our last, we always have had a 5-star on the offensive line. We don't have one this year. We don't. Donovan Jackson is now gone. The defensive line last year, you had Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, Tyreek Williams. That was 2 5-stars and a composite 150 guy. We do not have a single 5-star on the defensive line this year. The talent has just been a drop-off. The line recruiting has just not been a focal point. And honestly, what would be even more concerning is if it is a focal point and they're still missing on people. And again, be that as it may, I continue to say Tyler Bowen was a disgusting, miserable hire. He has been trash in Columbus since he's been here, not just in recruiting, but like the run game has just been fucking awful this year. The line play has just not been good. The run defense has not been good. I don't know what else to say. I am disgusted with our line play.
Well, Jay, this last thing I have to say really is, there could be a world, and I hope that this world doesn't manifest. But if you want to be pessimistic, there could be a world.
I'm always pessimistic, but I say it's realism in my mind. In my mind, I consider it realistic, but everyone says I'm a pessimist.
There would be a world where Ohio State lays an egg against Miami. Ryan Day has a bad, run heavy 2 and 3 tight end set game plan, and we can't move the ball, and we lose a tightly contested 17-14 game or something. There's also a world where Indiana, it gets away from them, and Alabama's athleticism, and the Big Ten looks really, really bad. Now, I am hoping that world, like I said, doesn't manifest. And I do believe, and we'll talk about it as we do the previews, Jay, but I do believe there is areas of opportunity for both our Ohio State Buckeyes to attack this Miami team and our fellow comrades, the Indiana Hoosiers, to attack this Alabama team. And so we'll get into that more.
In Oregon, hopefully beating Texas Tech. We're kind of forgetting about them, but
I need to look at Texas Tech. I really need to look at
Texas Tech. Is damn good, man. That's why I'm saying, like, their defensive line is of the caliber of Miami, and I'm trying to think of some other. I mean, I guess maybe I would say Indiana, but after Stephen Daly got hurt and is going to miss the playoffs, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So that's it,
Jay. Man. You got anything else for tonight?
I don't, man. I don't. Just, worried about the Big Ten. Alabama, like I said, I've said it for a while, like if they're fully healthy, they're extremely scary. And Indiana has got their hands full and then some. I don't know. I would favor Alabama in that game. And I'm not going to say what I think of Miami and Ohio State, who I favor right now, because I don't want to scare our audience too much.
Well, Jay, at the Ohio State preview, we have to pick the score of all of the games.
Yes, we probably do. When do we want to do the Miami preview, man? You're traveling and stuff. Like, we need to figure that out.
We'll figure it out. We'll post in the community notes, but I think we went undefeated on our picks this last week, didn't we?
No, I missed Alabama. I think you did. I picked Oklahoma to beat Alabama.
You picked Oklahoma. Okay.
All right. I'm pretty sure I did. I went, it's really 1-1. Who the fuck is picking like Ole Miss? And who is picking Tulane to beat Ole Miss?
Right, exactly. That's an easy one.
You know what I mean? Like,
this
that
week is easy to go undefeated.
We both nailed Miami beating Texas A&M, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with Texas A&M based on what I saw at the Texas game, and Miami
Right.
Miami did basically run on them very similarly to the way Texas did. So yeah, that's
They
a
did.
similar.
They did.
It's a similar.
Again, I think Miami and Texas are carbon copies of each other. It's just we won't actually be playing at home this time. It's probably going to be 70-30 in there because, again, Miami is extremely excited. Like, they have not had a season like this in a long time. And, yeah, their fans don't travel well, but they'll travel as well as they can for this.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, we will be back for a preview show. Thank you guys for watching, and we will talk with you again in just a
Merry
bit.
Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a great holiday.